One of the most effective improvements we've helped clients make over the years with their loss management processes is actually to take a different look at trips and shutdowns. What we actually do is encourage them to look at these as a loss event rather than just a simple individual trip or shutdown. What this lets you do is actually break each of these trips or shutdowns down into their component parts. And we typically look at four main component parts. So first of all, there's the initial trip. Then you quite often have a cascade or a number of cascades on the back of that. But then the two that I'm going to focus on today, and these two are probably the biggest opportunities for improvement, and that's to look at startup delays and ramp-up delays. So again, for any individual trip or shutdown, breaking it down into these component parts, classing it as a loss event, lets you focus on what are quite often very different causes and opportunities to improve within the overall event. What you can see from the first slide, typically there is an optimal restart process. So you've had your initial trip, everything gets stabilized and sorted out, restart the process, hopefully a fairly quick and efficient operation. However, it doesn't always work that way. What we typically see is you have that trip, you've got the actual loss event itself, but on the back of that, there are then typically delays in starting up and ultimately delays in ramping back up to full production. And being able to separate out those startup delays and indeed the ramp up delays gives you a great deal of focus and greater opportunity to improve. And I can think with many clients over the years and many assets we've worked with over the years, startup delays and ramp up delays on an annual basis are typically amongst the biggest prizes to be had. So rather than just accepting when you've had a trip or a shutdown, it takes 6 hours or 8 hours to restart the process and get back to full rates, or quite probably even longer than that. Is there an opportunity there to bring that time down? Could we knock a little bit of time off that? So digging into what were the reasons for any delays in there for the startup and then ultimately for the ramp up can reap huge dividends. So probably one of the most effective things we do, maximizing the effectiveness of the overall process, focus in on startup delays and ramp up delays. As always, more than happy to discuss this with you, go into a little bit more detail. As you can see, we also do the assessment, so really come in and take actually quite a quick look at the process you currently have just now and work with you to identify any ways to improve that even further, and obviously chase those phantom barrels, which is something we've talked about in previous videos. The best thing about the phantom barrels, it doesn't really cost anything. It's production you have there. You're not drilling, you're not spending more capex. It's just that fine detail, that attention to detail in your overall loss management process. Once again, chasing every single barrel. Thank you very much.